Hey guys out there on YouTube and the forums, lately, since we all know that IDPA is starting up for 2014 right now, I've been getting some questions as to what I'm shooting for IDPA or what would be a good gun for those who are new to IDPA that want to start with something in the 1911 platform. And I just figured I'd take a few minutes and go over my gun that I'm going to be shooting this year. It's actually the same gun I shot last year with a few little enhancements and tweaks here and there to make my life a little bit easier. You can shoot one of these right out of the box and it'll be great in the ESP class. After you do your qualifier and everything like that to find out what particular group you'll be in and everything like that. But I'm going to be shooting ESP this year with a Rock Island Armory 1911 A1. So this is going to be your single stack variant. And this gun here is safety checked. So there is no magazine in the gun, no rounds in the gun. This is the 9mm variant. So the reason I chose to shoot a 9mm variant is because I can shoot the ESP class as opposed to shooting against the 45 1911s. And mainly, my main reason for that is cost. It's cheaper for me to shoot 9mm than it is for me to shoot 45, and especially with some of our matches coming up here. Well, actually, we have one on Saturday, and it's February here in Pennsylvania. We have a whole bunch of snow here, so I'm probably going to lose all my brass, and if I'm going to lose brass, I might as well lose 9mm in my opinion. But I figured I'd walk you around my gun and show you what's in it. Again, like I said, you can compete with one of these out of the box. I'm going to show you things. These are purely my preference. This gun is very much capable as a stock weapon. However, you'll see some of the things, and I'll tell you why I've made some of these little enhancements here and there on this particular weapon that seem to make it a little bit easier for me to compete with. First and foremost, your biggest thing is going to be magazines. I mean, with any gun, magazines are a big key. You can have the best running gun in the world, and if your magazines are garbage, then your gun's not going to run. So I'm actually going to be switching to try some of the Trip 10-round magazines. Since IDPA is a 10-round game for the ESP class, I'm going to start trying to run some 10-round Trip magazines. I've seen good things about Trip. I've seen good things about Wilson. Currently, I'm using Checkmates and Metal Forms and stuff like that, and honestly, I've never had a problem with them ever. But it does give me the slight disadvantage where I have to emergency reload more often than some of the other guys do that are shooting higher capacity weapons. The other nice thing about the 9mm is I have an arm injury, so racking this slide's really easy. It's a 12-pound recoil spring. I can actually run lighter springs in mine depending on what power factor I'm shooting. And speaking of power factor, I shoot lead 125 grain, anywhere between 122 and 125 grain lead round noses out of mine, and they chrono at just over 1,000 feet per second, meeting the 125 power factor for IDPA minimum floor. So these are pretty light to shoot, and that also makes them really economical and cheap, so I can load these by the thousands, shoot them by the thousands. The best guess, and I was thinking about this before I shot this video, my best guess for this particular gun is it's probably got about 4,700 rounds through it. It's kind of hard for me to guesstimate because I do load 9mm for multiple guns, but by counting my primers, what I have in stock, what I don't have in stock, what I've loaded for buddies and things like that, that's about the best I can guess. So when picking a 9mm from the Rock Island line, this is a 5-inch, so this is a government model. This is my full size. This is what I would shoot normal IDPA with. I have a 45, that's the officer size model, the 3¼ inch barrel, 3.5 inch barrel, sorry, that I would shoot in a bug gun competition, which is really nice. If I had that in a 9mm, if I could get one in a 9mm, I'd love to have one of them too. This gun's been absolutely flawless. 9mm can be picky. That's something you're going to hear online, and they certainly can be. You know, springing is everything, kind of like a 10mm. You know, everything about building a good 10mm is all about springing it right so that you don't damage the frame, damage the slide, you know, destroy a barrel, whatever. 9mm is the same way. Finding that nice medium, you know, spring rate so it's not battering the frame with self-defense ammo, but it's also able to lock back up quickly with lighter loads. The big thing I look for in a Rock Island 1911 for shooting ESP is it's got to have dovetail sights. Now mine does. Mine has Novak sights, so the rear sight's actually adjustable on it. The front sight's a fiber optic. You'll see mine's kind of funny looking because I was having trouble with my fiber optic trying to work its way out after, you know, after lots and lots and lots of rounds. So I just took a lighter and, you know, kind of grooved it in, so that thing's never coming back out of there now. I'm actually not shooting a match grade barrel or anything like that. I'm shooting a factory barrel. I mean, you can see it says Cal 9mm and it's in red, but that's purely aesthetic. You can see that my breech face locks up real nice against the hood. And something a little bit special on my barrel is my crowning on it's really nice. It's done in a nice perfect angle. After a good day of shooting, you get that nice perfect star on there. And I have fitted a EGW carry barrel bushing to it, so one of these oversized bushings just to give it that little bit of edge that you probably don't need in IDPA, to make that barrel lock up real nice and tight. I haven't really noticed a whole lot of difference with it because really the gun outshoots me any day of the week. You can see that it's a full-length guide rod, so this is a TAC model. You know, this is a tactical model, so the tactical model is going to come with a skeletonized hammer, a skeletonized trigger, a high-ride beaver tail grip safety. You're going to see mine's kind of beat up. You're going to see that the bluing or the Parkerizing and everything's all destroyed on it, and that's because this gun is for duty. This has all been rounded out to contour into my hand real nice and smooth so that it can't be pinched. My safeties are all rounded over and re-blued. I blue these about every 3 months during a competition season just because I wear them all off. I have an STI hammer, an STI trigger, the polymer trigger. I have an STI sear and disconnector, and I just installed one of these, you know, extended slide stops on here, and I'm going to try it out and see how it is. Now, I'm a lefty, so for me this is going to be a convenience thing. As a righty, I bet it'd be really nice because you can let that slide down and whoosh, slam your round forward. You're not going to see me push this down right now because it's not good for your gun to slam home on an empty chamber. It's really not kind to the small internals in there. The other must-have is, like, I have these VZ grips. These are the same ones that you can get on a lot of the Rock Island pistols. A lot of people cry and complain that they're too sharp. Well, VZ's philosophy on that is it's easier to dull something than sharpen something. So if you really don't like them and you want to make them duller, you can dull down these grips if you want to, but you aren't going to make them sharper that easy. For me, and especially after watching some of Mike Seeklander's videos on the arm score at the range segments and things like that, I really need to vise onto my gun. I've been doing a little bit of videoing of me shooting my gun and with different holds, and I can see a tremendous amount of difference as to where that front sight comes back down on the target depending on how I hold this pistol and where I put pressure on it. So I think that's really the key, and grips are a huge part of that. Of course, I have, like, you know, the little EGW screws and all those kind of stupid little things. Mine does have the little magwell that goes with these grips. I actually stole these grips and magwell off my 10mm because I shoot this gun quite a bit more. But other than that, I mean, this is a bone stock gun. This is running a 12-pound recoil spring, factory guide rod, factory barrel, factory slide, factory frame. I've made a few little adjustments to the ejector just to get it to go where I want to. Like I said, I'm a lefty and they tend to hit me right in the face, so a little bit of ejector tuning and things like that. You'll also see my triggers a little bit tuned. I do love the high ride beaver tail. I consider that like a must, as opposed to say something like this, like a 38 Super that I have here with the standard like long tang beaver tail. I can't get as high of a grip on this gun as I can on this gun, and the higher the grip you can get, the closer to the bore axis you are. One other thing that I did change on this is I did put a IDPA legal extended mag release on it. Just because as a lefty I eject my magazines like this. So if I take an empty magazine and put it in the gun, bang 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 bang, emergency reload, I reach over here and kick my mag out. So everything's kind of a little bit tuned on mine. Not that any of this didn't work out of the box, but you know, I like to have everything working exactly right for the mags I use and all that kind of stuff. So, with that being said, my triggers, and some people have just asked me about this recently, actually, like 2 or 3 people were just asking me about this. I'm not even sure what this one weighs in. My typical trigger's about 3 3/4. So, let's see. 3.71. Okay, well, this one's closer to 3.5. But again, this is a duty gun, not a carry gun, so it really doesn't feel that light, to be honest with you. This trigger's about a 3.5. The most important thing is how crisp it drops, and I replaced these factory internals for no reason other than I like this hammer, and I figured, if I'm going to fit a hammer, I might as well fit a sear, and if I'm going to fit a sear, I might as well fit a disconnector. So all that stuff's here, and it's serviceable, and there's no problem with it, but I just, you know, I'm kind of partial to it, so I decided to put it in there anyway. But yeah, this is a Rock Island Armory Tactical, the 9mm variant. I also sometimes shoot this as a 38 Super, so I have a 38 Super barrel and a 38 Super, you know, whole setup for this one. So all I do is switch over my bushing barrel and magazine, and now I'm ready to rock in 38 Super. That's one of the cool things, is the breech face on my particular gun, and I can't speak to everybody's gun. But the breech face on my 9mm is the same as the 38 Super, and since I have the luxury of having a 38 Super or a 9mm, I have a couple different guns. I have a 38 Super that's a GI model, that one that I showed you the frame from here, and this 38 Super is probably one of the most accurate guns I've got. It's so fantastically accurate. However, being that it is a GI, it has GI sights, and if you've ever used GI sights, they can be quite a challenge. Now, if your game is bullseye, that's pretty much what you got to work with, depending on what your, you know, rules are and everything like that. But for me, I kind of like the 3-dot sighting system, or actually sometimes I Sharpie these in. As long as I have a fiber optic up front to get that quick front sight picture, that's all I need. But this gun's gonna run forever. The only thing that's coming off of it's the finish, because of all the holstering and grabbing and handling, and, you know, running around like a nut in August, sweating all over the gun. As long as I keep this thing lubed, she keeps running.